You're listening to Polymatic.media, episode 106 for September 2023. Welcome to the Polymaticast. Hey, John. How's it going?
Okay-ish. How about you?
Yeah, about the same. And, depends on how the recording comes out, but all of you are probably hearing my neighbor mow the lawn. The very little lawn that we collectively have, but I can hear them in the background through the window, 30 feet up.
I can't hear it because of Google Meet, but yeah.
Yeah, the way we talk to each other. But, this is recording on both sides, so yeah, so it might pick up. So anyhow, please excuse that if you all hear it. And now Steve is going to be listening for it in the background.
Can I hear the mowing of the lawn? Can you still hear them, Clarice?
Exactly. So anyhow, it's September. We got into September. We are a few months left for the year.
8 years.
Oh yeah, you were just talking about this, yeah. And yeah, I mean it's a fair amount of time. Well, we haven't hit the end of the month yet, so we haven't hit sort of technically.
Yeah, but no. Actually.
Oh, based on the releases, this would be the release month.
Well, our first episode is not really our first episode. Is it?
Oh, that's the first release.
The one we don't talk about.
Oh, we did a couple because we
had two. We had the first one and I think 65-ish or something. That doesn't exist.
Okay, I don't know. Yeah, and we've skipped a whole bunch. So technically, from from a date perspective, because we've had those things where you're like, I'm working on the book, and not this month. Right? We've had a few of those across the board over the years, so it's not like a consistent. And we were doing every 2 weeks, I think, at first or something like that.
Yeah, so I think on average, if you average it out over the years.
Yeah, right. We've definitely hit in terms of enough over the spread of time. So yeah, I don't know.
8 years of Polymatic.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean there's a release every month.
Yeah, I said jokingly to Paul, because he reminds me, he's like, yeah, you've been doing a show for nearly 20 years, or 18 years plus now, I guess, consistently every week, right? And he always sort of reminds me, he's like, you can't say that about most shows, and also with some kind of audience, right? And I was like, yeah. He's like, that's, he reminds me, he's like, that's pretty much a hell of a thing. I was like, okay. I said, I don't know when we should stop. I mean, maybe 20 years. We get to 20 years and all right, we're done. And that'll be the start show. Welcome to our 20th year show. All right, we're done. And I'm like, maybe we'll see when we get in 20 years. I don't know why I keep doing it.
We have a pretty big audience. Hi, Steve.
Yeah, we got Steve. Hi, Steve. I hope you're doing well.
He's still here.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I don't know. Actually, I never check the email.
Well, I don't look. I barely look at the stats for OG. This isn't a knock at the hoster, but the podcast hoster that I use, when their first years, right, they didn't have a credit card situation stuff. They had PayPal. So of course, if my credit card changed or my, something changed on my PayPal, then it screwed up the subscription, which means I lost the statistics data. And then, of course, over the years, they changed how they do the statistics and how they record that stuff. And, every time something changes, it gets sort of kiboshed. So they're like, your all-time numbers are. I'm like, no. That's it's 50 million or something. It's not you're telling me 3 million. That's this year, BS. So I stopped looking at the stats. And it used to be at a point, those early days, I could download them I could download the raw logs. They gave me that option. Now they don't allow that kind of thing. They just sort of calculate it for you. You could probably export it, but it's not raw data. So I wrote myself scripts and stuff to churn through and get accurate data,
Hmm.
right? That wasn't a part of their churning estimated numbers. And I was like, I could see the uniques and the IPs and if with the full file, not a partial, not straight, like I could make accuracy. And I'm like, nope, my numbers are much higher because I was a guy who knows what weblogs look like. I know how to read that format, and I was
Hmm.
able to build through my own tools, build real statistics out of it. So, um, yeah. So I don't know. I stopped paying attention to it, and I have other podcasters who would be like, "What are your numbers?" I go, "I don't know. I don't really look at them." And they go, "Where is this?" Like, well, I mean, I look at them every once in a while. I was like, "No, no, no, no. We don't do that. That's too low. We do roughly this, or we do somewhere in this zone." And they're like, "Really?" And I go, "Yeah. I don't really." But no one emails us. Every once in a while I'm on Otakon, there's 40,000 people. A person goes, "Oh my God, you're," and I'm like, "Yeah, nice to meet you." And then I go about my business, right? And that's it. I'm not internet famous. I don't, none of this, and I don't really look at the numbers. I just don't, right? And like most podcasters, I'm not chasing anything and I've not made money from it. So, I don't, uh, uh, I don't, I don't do it for the numbers. I mean, they help tell me that there's someone on the other end that still cares. Yeah.
Well, you heard it here first. If you want to buy a Otaku Generation, contact Alan.
I don't know. I think we got into the world of podcasts that whether it was a strike or whatever, but you got people that have like in between things, between jobs, like actors and
Mm.
comedians. It was mostly comedians who are, some of them can be pseudo famous, right? They've been in media and then they know some celebrities and they're friends with them and they bring them on and then they have a show and then everyone shows up because and then they're the ones who made podcasts um, profitable to companies
Hmm.
and has as much as they have done damage to small people and have a conversation about stuff, they've also made them more relevant, in the
Hmm.
grander scheme of things. So,
Everybody has a podcast.
yeah, yeah, that is very true. Except my neighbor who is mowing right now,
Or the airplane flying over.
or your neighbors who drill and do
Oh yeah.
renovations. Oh, they probably do have podcasts. That's probably why they're doing it a lot.
Well, I don't think they're doing that. They're recording with podcasts.
No, it'd be a YouTube thing or a vlog or a TikTok.
Yep, sure. Let's just keep it at that.
Oh, okay. I don't want to know.
Me neither. Okay, so I gave you a link, a thing on Steam.
Yeah, you gifted me a game. I watched your video that we'll, I guess, share a little later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks interesting. I mean, it looks pretty. Even though it's sort of like
Pixelate.
pixelated, but it looks interesting. I didn't get to a moment where I wanted to play some other game. Like I Minecraft a little bit, last night, and I played my normal sort of regular couple things, and that's it. I hadn't gotten to a moment where I was like, all right, let me play this game. But thank you for gifting me something. I will play it. Looks interesting. Um,
So I gave him Noita, and if anybody who knows that game, that was not a gift. That was a curse.
well, so I guess knowing that I'm always gonna die frees me from having to worry about of not dying as the goal to winning a game, because then it'll be like, all right, how many ways can I die? And then at some point the magical, oh, I didn't die that time. Okay, so that's a clue. So I
Yeah,
and I saw the video, I was like, oh yeah, that's exactly the strategy I think I'm gonna have to go on. So yeah.
Yeah, so Noita is a game where you're basically a wizard, and you have a wand, and you have another wand, and the other wand is usually with bombs, and the other one, the main wand, is like just shooty thingies, and then you have one potion. That's what you start with,
Hmm.
and then you have to survive
So the only thing I hate
for as long as
anytime
possible.
you die in a game is the respawn or the you died. Let me tell you for like 5 minutes how you died and make it difficult for you to restart and just
Oh
go
no,
back
this
into
is
put.
just as soon as
Oh,
you can go look at the stats if you want to, or just go
you
start new
just
game.
click and restart.
Yeah,
Got it.
yeah.
Okay,
But
good.
you usually get like there's an achievements thing,
Hmm.
so you can see what you've achieved so far. So you can go through that if you want to.
Are the achievements based on how you died?
Some, yes.
Oh, okay, good.
There's like if it was an accident or not.
Oh, got it. Okay. Well, they're all
So
going to be accidents until you know that's how you can die.
yeah. So there's there's so many secrets in this game. And one of the things, like in the video, I'll give you the link in a few seconds. But it's like yeah, it I was watching somebody who was streaming artwork switch to that game, and he kind of affected me with that game. I was like, okay, I'll eventually I'll buy the game. So I bought the game, and I was like, okay, let me just inflict this curse on as many people as possible. So
So,
I've been gifting people Noita.
did you play it and how many hours did you burn on it?
I don't know actually, but I've played a bit of it.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go check out Noita. Noita, I have 12 and a half hours in it.
Okay.
So I can say that it is a pretty okay game. It is, at first, you feel like, oh, this is not that hard. I can get to the third level. So easy. So easy. And then you instantly die once you hit the third level because you have no idea what you're doing. You're like, oh, I can get all these upgrades on the holy mountain. Oh yeah, get all these upgrades, and then they're worth nothing because you don't have any gold to buy
Hmm.
them. And then the next run, okay, so I have to collect some gold. Okay, but at first you're thinking like I have to go down as fast as possible. Just go down as far and as fast as possible. But you don't have anything to play with, so
Hmm.
just go explore a little bit. And that's one of the main features of this game is like just being curious. Okay, yeah, you could die. That's fine. Just restart. And there's like so many hidden things and tricks and fun stuff you can do with things. You can charm certain mobs into healing you, and like there's no heal pots or anything. There's no health stuff. And there's like upgrades you can pick up that can and will mess with you because you think, oh, I'm picking up a healing thing. Whenever my stomach is full, I heal. But then there's nothing to eat. So once you run out of food in your stomach, you become hungry and you start dying. Yeah, okay. So Noita is a very interesting game. It's like it wasn't that expensive, but it was still a pretty intense. A lot of entertainment out of it so far, and it's
Mm-hmm.
also pretty nice on the Steam Deck.
Okay.
Played very nice. So yeah, I had to turn on the VSync because the frame rate was messing with the speed of the actual game. So
Hmm.
So there's some simulation stuff in there that's linked to frame rate. So that's kind of funny.
Okay.
Okay, and I've also bought Starfield.
Like you and everyone else.
Well, not everybody else, because there's not a lot of people that bought the premium edition. The actual game comes out on Wednesday, I think.
Oh, okay. So
So
the premium is what everyone is getting.
who wants to play it now?
Got it. Okay.
And people, be very happy you didn't pay the extra money for this game.
Okay.
because
only heard about it through like a YouTuber, and I don't have any particular opinion, but I heard it was like the awaited thing with bated breath.
yeah, I was really looking forward to it, but yeah, I have some issues with the game. Um, so one of the problems, like, it is Fallout. It's just Fallout in space. Like, it has similar mechanics and similar like inventory management stuff, and it's super annoying. So that's one of the things I've been having issues with because I don't like Fallout.
Hmm.
And you're people are gonna be angry with me, but like, yeah, okay, I'm a normie. I don't like this kind of stuff. And the one of the things that really bugs me is the fast travel. It's fast travel everywhere. You see a quest in your thing, and you can immediately fast travel there. It's like, so what exploration is there? And there's people who have been going through because apparently you can land on planets and do some exploration, but it's all generated. So if you pick a location, you get a generated area, and then you take off and you go straight back down, and you get a completely different area. And there's like a limit of the amount of space you can run around in,
I
like
heard about people
20
complaining about the
minutes
invisible
either
walls.
way. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, so there's some shortcuts that were made, and one of the things that had me almost refund this game was actually I actually sent in the request for a refund, but I decided to change my mind to give it another shot. But the the biggest problem was when I came into the first city. It felt like Mass Effect 1, like the quality of Mass Effect 1. And Mass Effect 1 is like 2006ish
hmm.
style game. So,
I
it's like
also heard
it
people
felt
were.
it felt like there was like they used it like a cookie cutter sci-fi area,
Hmm.
and they like, yeah, it didn't look good. Apparently there's some issues with the graphics engine for
Right,
it,
that's what I was just going to talk
with
about.
regards to like they just you reuse the same engine for Fallout. So
Yeah, I heard that people are trying to get high frame rates and stuff on like that, and you don't really need a big fancy, 4090 or something to play the game because it won't matter.
yep, I got 60 frames a second at the medium on a 3060,
Hmm.
and I got, I think, 35 frames a second on ultra on a 3060.
Okay.
Good enough. It is a shooter, but like in closer quarters, it's at higher frame rate, but like it doesn't go above 60. So I don't know what's going on there. But also, there's no upscaling. It's using the AMD stuff, but there's no DLSS, so there's no NVIDIA compatible upscaling.
Hmm.
And apparently, it does work on NVIDIA machines, graphics cards, but it doesn't. It's not the native one, so it's probably not as good for your card. Like, maybe they can
Right.
just implement the thing.
No, I mean on this system that we're sort of talking through and I'm recording on. I mean it has an old card. It's not like the comparative to a 3060 or anything like that, but it is an AMD graphics card.
Oh, this is just the integrated one.
No, no, no. It's like a discrete one.
From what I understand, is that it does actually run on a Steam Deck, so that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
But that kind of makes sense because it's just the same engine as
Fallout
for Fallout.
from
And there's
long
so
ago.
many loading screens. There's so many of them. It's like everything, every door you enter, it's a loading screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, elevators, and they employ all the different tricks. So it's not an open world at all. And there's like, oh yeah, it's open world and blah blah blah, and that there's been lots of people that have been vocal
Okay.
about,
So I'm glad I didn't one buy it and two I'll just not play it. That's all.
There's also some people who have been vocal about. Um, so one of the things that is in the game in your character selector is a pronoun option,
Okay.
and there's people who've been up in arms about it and refunding it because of that. I'm like, okay, go away. I don't care.
Whatever.
Let people be. Like, people have the option to do this. If you don't want to use that option, don't use
use
the
it.
option.
Yeah.
Right? Do whatever. It's a role playing game. Enjoy the freedom to do that. And I'm more of like, just let people do what they want to do. And I'm happy that Bethesda gave people this option. And it's not, yeah. Okay, it's just something I wanted to say because that's what I was running into while I was trying to figure out if this game was actually broken or not, because there was too many people screaming at the top of their lungs about how bad the game was because people had the option to choose a pronoun. I'm like, okay,
That's
go away.
nothing to scream about.
Yeah, this is like people
Yeah.
have an option to do something. There's other games who you can romance a tentacle monster. It's called Baldur's Gate. Is the Baldur's Gate the new one?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, I know
it's
of
like
the
insane.
name of that.
I mean,
I've heard Baldur's Gate before, but I've never played it.
it's a sci-fi game set in the future. People are going to be
Right.
it's
And
gonna
honestly, how many guys go online and their avatar is not another guy? Right? There's a ton of people who like want to be that
who they want to be.
Yeah.
Like, it's a role-playing game. Let people do what they want to do.
It might not have any other meaning that they just thought that character looked cool and they wanted to play that character. That's all.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, don't overthink it, people.
And then there's lots
complaining.
of people. There's some vocal asshats doing, the typical politician stuff that's happening these days. So, yeah, I don't know. That was not the problem for me. The problem for me is the game actually sucked so much.
Oh, okay.
There was so much. There were buggy quest lines. There's buggy characters, NPCs standing on things they're not supposed to stand on. You know that video about No Man's Sky where they were like they collected all the bugs for No Man's Sky, where like things glitching through the floor and that kind of stuff. I ran into so many of those things.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep. You have like a follower, and it just you go through a door into a fast travel tram. You have a character following you, and the character is talking to you. You go into the tram. The character keeps talking to you and just tries to get into the tram. The tram doors are closed, and the tram moves away. And just the characters keep standing there.
Oh, okay. In the middle.
And there's like you're supposed to get a tour through the lodge of the explorers thing.
Mm-hmm.
A Constellation is the name of the explorers company or something. And you're supposed to get a tour to show you, for them to show you your room where you can stay.
Yeah.
And leave some of your stuff. And the tour just doesn't happen. So I'm like, okay, so where can I put my stuff? And I had to go and Google it, and it turns out there's plenty of people who have the same problem where it tries to start the quest, but it doesn't complete the quest. And there's like so many of these things where you're supposed to, and they're supposed to just intuit that the character said, oh yeah, I don't have it anymore, that item that you wanted. And then you go to your quest log, and then you see, oh, this person has it. And there's no indication of where to go, and the whole map versus questline thing. And there's indicators on the map, but the map shows you nothing, no terrain, nothing, just dots. And there's no actual. You cannot actually. You can't actually see where you are. There's some indicators of like an area, but like it's a square with the name under it, and that's it. And it's just a grid of dots. That's the map. No indication. Oh, I need to find a shop. No shop indicators. Nothing on the map. Yeah, it's yeah.
It doesn't
So
sound like a fun game.
no, it's not. No, it's not. Yeah, I would understand this in like a post-apocalyptic world, like for example a Fallout world, where you don't really have anything. I bought Fallout and I hated Fallout, so I stopped playing Fallout because I don't like it. Fallout 4, and now I get this game and it's basically the same thing except in space. So yeah, I like the whole concept of like the ancient civilization, looking for remnants of stuff, right? I like the whole concept of that, which is the main storyline. It's just like it's just completely overshadowed by the badness of the game itself.
Yeah.
It's like Mass Effect was wonderful in that, and they had some problems with the ending, the three colors, and like that's the only choice you have, which is it sucks. But overall, the game itself, even though the first game was not great with regards to like mechanics and whatever, and the shooting in that game, it had so much story and lore and whatever. And I'm sure that there's a lot of it in here is just completely overshadowed and unusable because of the engine that is bad. And one of the things that is like super, super, super creepy is that all the NPCs stare at you all the time. You walk past them, they look at you. They just continue to look at you. Like, you walk by and they say something regarding you. And you look at them and then they stare at you. And there's like 3 or 4 people looking at you. But they're not normal people. They look like they are made of clay. They're like shiny and like there's appears to be something with the quality of the game that it switches to a different quality to perform better, and maybe it has to do with like the size of the city that you're in. I think New Atlantis, the first city you actually encounter, is like one of the bigger ones, or maybe even the biggest. I don't know. I haven't played enough of this game. It's just it's just creepy.
They're judging you for buying the game.
Probably. Why did you buy us early? We weren't ready.
Look at us. Stare at us.
And like one of the things, it's like the game gets hit by the ugly stick. Like it's at first you make your character, it looks great. You play it, and then you go into the city, and then your character becomes ugly. And then you go on a game, and then the character becomes nice again. It's like they reduce the quality as soon as you hit that city. They just have a performance issue there, and I don't know what's going on there, but it's something they need to fix, and they're probably not going to fix it because everybody's on the hype train, and they're like, "Oh yeah, let's just play it, yay!"
I haven't watched anyone streaming it, so. Just out of curiosity, I should probably check that out at some point.
Yeah, I don't think it's a game for you. I don't think you have
because I was gonna ask someone the question is because I was gonna ask Paul.
It's gonna be like 100-hour plus game.
Oh,
I think even after like 20 hours, you're still not in the main area yet. Main quest line. Yeah.
And it also doesn't sound like it sounds buggy, and it doesn't even see like buggy like Red Dead. You know, in an entertaining way.
Yeah, like for example, Cyberpunk. When that released, it was buggy as hell.
Yeah.
And they fixed that. That game is wonderful. Like Cyberpunk, wonderful. Even No Man's Sky, after they fixed the issues, they doubled down, they fixed the issues, and it's actually a playable game. I haven't played it much because I got totally burned out on it, but you know, it's good now, and maybe at some point I will pick it up. That was kind of my plan with like me refunding this game, I was like, okay, I'll just wait until they fix the game because this is unplayable. Um, and then I saw some other people's comments on it and how like one of most of these issues are just fixable by tweaking the settings. But like, yeah, dudes, come on, this is a game you've been working on for 10 years, but it looks like you still use the engine from 10 years ago, which is actually what they did. So
I would think. I mean, Bethesda's been around for a while. I don't really follow them. I mean, I really don't follow a lot of games or what's going on, sort of in the general community. So I don't know. I mean, what game have they made in recent days aside from Starfield?
Fallout 76, which was
Okay,
another disaster.
got it. Okay, so they're just repurposing existing software engines that they have internally.
Yep. I'm
Got it.
surprised that they're still alive.
Hmm.
But I think they got bought by Microsoft, so you
Okay.
know. This probably has something to do with it.
Yeah.
I don't see how, like, they have a good concept with the main story. Like I like the concept and I like that you can just dig deep on stuff. But the crafting and all the other stuff around it, it feels like it was tacked on. I don't know. Like they it's not like Noita where the them not telling you anything is kind of the whole concept of the game. It's kind of the fun part about the game. It is not fun because as soon as you hit, you get stuck immediately. Like you're supposed to do something, but the game doesn't tell you at all anything
Right.
about where you're supposed to go, or the quest just bugs out. And then so I have to load a save or something. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do here? And I'd rather not just go online and search for the solution to the problem because it's kind of annoying and
Right,
it kind
because
of
everyone is
breaks the
whining
immersion of the
about,
game.
yeah. Hey, look at me. I got Starfield and it sucks. Pay attention to why I think it sucks.
Yeah,
Oh,
and I
by
don't
the
want to
way,
see that because that
yeah,
kind
right,
of got me yesterday where I was like,
right.
okay, I'm fed up trying to figure out how this works. Let me just figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Then I find out, oh, well, there's these other bugs that are also happening at the same time. I'm like, oh, I don't want to spend my time on this thing. Is it going to cost me this much time to look at this? And I purchased it because I was like, okay, I'll get the premium one so I can play early, so I can, go do some, play the video game a little bit. I feel like playing the video game right now. And yeah, I was even like considering streaming it, but with all these bugs, it's like this is not going to be entertaining. This is not going to be fun to play. I was like,
I
yeah,
mean, if
I'm
you're a
not
streamer, your
bothering it.
goal is to be outraged by it
Yeah,
and
but I don't want to
loud.
be one of those streamers. I don't want to do
Got it.
that. I want to play the video game and have the video game be fun.
Right.
Like,
I understand what you paid for or what you expected.
yeah, and I would not go play the main quest. I would go do all the side quests and do all the fun stuff, like with the like gathering resources, building outposts and whatever, which is kind of
So,
like the whole thing. But like one of the main storylines when you start out is like the beginning of the game. You get given the ship immediately. There's like no ramp up whatsoever. You don't get trusted eventually. You just get given the ship.
okay.
What? You're not part of that organization yet, but here's the robot and here's the ship and go fly back. And oh no, there's some space pirates you need to take care of before you can go. And then
I
you
mean,
can
the
you
hype
can
is
talk to the
strong.
space pirates, and the space pirates, if you convince them, they will stop bothering you. Oh, but then you can still shoot them, and then they get angry with you again.
I mean, the hype was strong on this thing, so the trailers and stuff must have been pretty good.
Yeah, and I can see where they got the footage because, like, if you play the first part, like
Mm-hmm.
the initial where you retrieve the artifact, Like you get as a flunky, you get charged with taking the artifact out of the cave.
Mm-hmm.
You get basically sent in as like a guinea pig. Oh, here, go pick it up. That like it looks good. Like that first part looks good, but then you get to New Atlantis and it looks like crap. And I haven't been anywhere else. I've been to Mars for a little bit, and I've gone to Sol, to the moon, and you can go through. I'm in a derelict shipyard right now, and so far, like the in shipyard thing looks great. The shooter is great. It really works, even though healing and all the other stuff is still super annoying, like the you would expect from a Fallout style game. It's super annoying. All the inventory management and whatever, I don't like it at all. Like I want to have some hotkeys where I can just say, okay, eat this, do quickly, like in Cyberpunk, where you can just heal yourself quickly because you have one of those max docs hooked up. And in I don't know, in Starfield it's a little bit more cumbersome, but it's still doable. Inside of the like the mission areas and maybe even the generated areas, it looks good. But then you go to a city where it's more scripted, then the people inside, the ones that are generated, they look like monsters, and they I don't know. It seems like there's a graphical glitch. I don't have a screenshot of it. I wish I did. But if you change the settings, it changes the way the people look. But they all have something not right with them. There's like there's some monster in there somewhere that's controlling them.
Uh,
They're all looking at you.
how long has this game been in production?
10 years.
Wow. And this is the best they came up with.
But I think what happened is that they got the starting area, which is the city you got in. They made that 10 years ago, and they
Mm-hmm.
didn't update it. And then all the procedural stuff in the beginning, like the actual start, they
Mm-hmm.
fixed that up because they kept playing through it. And then the hub area is something they didn't touch after like the first part. Like all these buildings that were supposed to be shops, they either feel very empty and then okay, there's a person standing there, but there's no things you can buy. You have to talk to a person to buy anything. There's no browsing, no looking at things. I mean, I don't know, man. I was so hyped for this game because I wanted to play like another space game, like Mass Effect, because they're not making Mass Effect games anymore. Maybe they
Mm-hmm.
are at some point. I would really like BioWare to make another Mass Effect game, but considering they just fired 2 writers, I don't think that's going to happen.
And
So,
also, I think maybe it's the voice actors for video games are going on strike.
I don't
Um,
know.
I don't know. I don't know where, in terms of entertainment guilds and stuff, where that affects any sort of production on gaming industry.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was going to be a great game, and I was really hyped about it. But the one thing I'm hyped about is the new expansion for Cyberpunk called Phantom Liberty, which adds a new ending to the game, a couple of new endings to the game, and a whole new area, and more reworked police stuff and dynamic missions. So there's no longer nothing more to do for you in the game, so you can keep playing the game,
Mm-hmm.
keep leveling up, which is really something that I finished all the missions, all of them in Cyberpunk.
How long did it take you to do that?
I don't know, it's a very long time. I can actually check that. Let me check that real quick.
Never played the game.
I have 120 hours in the game,
Okay.
which like it's a good entertaining game. I didn't buy it when the game came out. I bought it like almost a year after the game came out.
Was that in the period where they fixed up a lot of stuff?
Yep.
Okay.
after they fixed up all the stuff. And the same thing with No Man's Sky. I bought the game when the game came out, and then it turned out to be a total crap fest. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna leave this game for what it is. Played it for a while. I wasn't happy with it. I was like, okay, I got suckered into this. I'll let it. It's fine. I'm just don't bother me with this game anymore. Uninstalled it, and then like a year later, I heard that it has changed. Now they continue to keep updating the game, which is also pretty nice. It's just that Cyberpunk is only going to get one expansion. I really want to play more Cyberpunk because the game is wonderful. It plays really nice. It looks nice. Yeah, it's really well done. Just keep making this, please. Do this. This is a good engine. It works well. Please let it be, But they're switching to Unreal, so they can't really continue with their old engine. But that old engine is really good. Even though, like at first, they had the problem with like the zombie people and people standing in the floor with like just the torso sticking out.
Yeah, I guess there used to be this in software development, and this, look, game development is a different kind of software development, but it is still software development. There used to be this sort of, you release it when it's ready, and you don't do this half-baked thing, and then, the world changed, and people are like, we just have to ship things to make money, and we don't care about quality. What are you talking about, quality? Well, we'll fix that as a feature that people can pay an upgrade function for, right? And that wasn't necessarily a gaming thing. This was like big software company things, right? Apple did this, Microsoft did this, Google did this, and they all did it.
We'll fix it
And
in post.
you're right. And we'll make our customers pay for the upgrades. For something that should have been fully baked. And it was so irritating when everyone had a startup and everyone was doing a startup and they were just like shipping you features. And then Apple turned it into this iterative release and iterative change and iterative update throughout the year as features and functions. And, they did this even with hardware. Right. And so everyone's like, yeah, we'll follow that. That's a very profitable premise. Like, instead of us delivering a properly high quality, fully baked product, it will just take 10 years to do that. And we'll make trillions of dollars in the process. Right. And it just seems like that made its way down into gaming. And I'm just like, why would anyone settle for this?
Yeah, it seems like all these games are like not done.
And they're not cheap.
No, this is $100.
Yeah, they're not cheap games. And
Yep.
which is, honestly, for $100 you could buy something else that like will give you probably way more entertainment and less frustration.
Yep. Like Noita. Well,
I got
it
that
actually
for
might
free.
give you more frustration.
That's its design. What was the other game that my friend Vic played? I can't think of it, but it's meant to be difficult, as it's like a
Cuphead?
no, it's a platformer. And I forget what it is, but it's just meant to be difficult. And he gets pretty far with it, but it's like everything is difficult. Have you played the Chicken Raccoon game? Okay,
Nope.
so this is another one that I see them play like when we're hanging out. The group of us are hanging out. So what you do is it's sort of like it kind of reminds me of a modern version of Trap Gunner, where you set up all these different kinds of obstacles and you set them up, and you have to kind of compete to all get to the end of like this particular. It's one screen, right? It's not like, well, that's not true. I think there's sometimes you iterate, you go through a thing and you have the next phase of whatever the level is. But you set up all this stuff at the beginning of the level, of all these traps and stuff that everyone's got to go through, and it could be
They're like
something
tower
that's like,
defense,
hmm,
like tower defense type of game.
not exactly. It's like Chicken Raccoon or something like that is the name of it. It looks fun. I always watch them play it. I never played it, so
Okay.
yeah, it's available on Steam, no doubt. So, but again, you don't play it alone. You play it with people, so your friends.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think I still have like some other games that I need to finish, that I need to even start playing, like Control. I think that's like really. I think that was like a really good game.
I have a ton of things that I just sort of never got to because I was always doing the Humble bundle.
Oh, you
Um,
said it right this time.
yeah,
Wonderful.
and
Humble Bumble.
I always had a ton of stuff that I never got around to playing. So my library is like filled with a lot of stuff that I never got around to playing. So every time I go into Steam, it like it's updating things, and I say, yeah, sure, update, but like,
It's
oh, I haven't played
taunting
that game
you.
yet. No,
Play all the games.
no, I mean, like when I'm looking to go play a game, sometimes I just need a limited amount of decompression, right? For a
Did
short
you ever
amount of time.
finish Stray?
I never bought Stray.
Oh, okay. I did. I never
Um,
finished it.
I found out that it was only 15 hours, and I watched friends play it, and I enjoyed that much of it, and it looked interesting, and it looked like a thing I could, but it's still, even when I saw it go on sale, it was like $26 or something one day, but it's still $30.
Yeah, I have two games I want to finish. That's Tears of the Kingdom, because I did finish
Yeah.
Breath of the
Yeah.
Wild. So I want to finish Tears of the Kingdom. Although I already know what's going to happen because people spoiled it, of course. And it's been out for months, so,
Right, yeah.
And then I have Horizon Forbidden West that I bought the expansion for that I still haven't played yet. So I'm slowly completing the game, which is what I always do. I play, like, for example, Cyberpunk. I go and try to figure out which materials I need, how to get as much out of the game, and how to become as powerful as possible, And yeah, I think I've gotten there. Like I can just take out everything in Cyberpunk, and even like in Horizon, I'm getting pretty good at whatever I need to do. And I'm not a controller person, so I don't like playing with like a PlayStation. So I like playing mouse and keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
So Horizon Zero Dawn, I played on the PC. So when I switched to the PlayStation, that was kind of it required some adjustments. Yeah. Because you can't switch between different weapons easily, and there's some buttons you need to get rid of, need to learn and whatever. So I really want to finish Horizon, Forbidden West, and Tears of the Kingdom. And then I might come back to Starfield at some point. Or maybe I'll play some more Starfield during the week. I just want to see how far I can get before I get so upset with all the bugs. Because there's lots of bugs. And there's people online that are saying, "Oh, you're just being negative about this, and they need to ban everybody who's negative about the game." And
you can hope that'll get fixed, and you give it some time and just walk away from it for a little bit and stay away from all the hype. And just because it's everyone else's new hotness doesn't mean it has to be yours.
But the worst part about this is that people are already starting to come up with like the narrative of like people who don't like this game. Oh, they're just anti the pronoun thing, right? There's already people saying this.
There are people who like to cultivate drama and thrive off of drama, and most of the time, well, none of them are so whip smart that they profiteer off of it. But ultimately, the goal is like, look, if I can get attention, I can get attention. I get followers, I can get numbers, and then they're gonna come knocking on my door, and and throw money at me to silence me, right? Like, and I think that's what a lot of people hope for, right? They create drama, create attention, and they hope that that results in something that allows them to make this their daytime job. Unless it already is their daytime job, then they're just continuing the format of the thing that they think believes that it's gonna make them a billionaire.
Yeah, I think it's because there's some people who are really vocal about they're refunding the game because of the option being there, and I'm like, I don't want to be grouped in with these assholes. I'm just here.
Right.
I want to get a refund because the game actually is broken as fuck. I
So
want it to not be broken.
I don't know. I mean,
Maybe go fix the game, please.
I'm not invested in like streamers and YouTuber drama. I'm just not. But there is like one person who's like super popular on as a streamer, and I've seen clips of this person, being like on DeFranco or whatever it is, like being sort of because of the drama before I skip away from the whole section of the conversation about them, and I'm just like, wow, a lot of people follow this person, and this person gets to make a lot of money as a result of having a lot of attention. And I'm like, really? This is what people vest their energy and support for? And I'm like, this person is they're just having one, they're not even good at having a fake tirade, but like really, this is what people are spending all their energy on? And they become famous for it. And I just was like, oh my God, first thing, what is wrong with people? Second thing, this is what you call entertainment, and then you defend and support, and you financially support by buying all their merchandise and stuff. I mean, just the worst people, and they're popular because they're just the worst. And I'm like, okay, wow. Look, it's not my entertainment. It's not where I spend my energy on. But like, why would people want to pay to be frustrated? So, and that's how I feel about like as I hear games that don't sound great. Why would you want to pay for this frustration? I don't get it.
It was super hyped, so that's
Right,
why I
I
bought
know
the game because
you
it
pay
was
for
like
the promise. You don't pay for the.
I love space games. I love space things.
Right, I know.
Let me
We're
play
all
this
looking.
game. I want to play this game.
I hit maybe last week. I hit the void of all right. Well, everything you were enjoying for the last several weeks is now the season sort of suspended until they come back next year when they renew it. But oh, by the way, they're going to be screwed up by all the strikes. So good luck with that. And I started watching. Randomly started watching Deep Space Nine. I finally hit the void of like, oh, I'm now at current speed with everything that's going to be available to be released as expected schedule. That was in production. And oh, by the way, and now I'm at speed, which means I got to wait every week, and I only get a few things a week at best, and that's only like a night or two of entertainment for me, and now where I'm going to get my entertainment to be brainless and I'm hitting that. And so I get it, right? You found something you really liked, and now you want more of something like that. If you can't have that, you want something similar, and you can't even have that. So I get it. I understand. Was my sort of part of my rant.
Yeah. From what I understand is that there's Foundation is on Apple stuff. But you can even watch that on non-Apple devices. So
okay, but I don't want to pay for Apple TV. It's just a whole nother thing I don't want to pay for.
Yeah, but you can just buy it for 1 month. It's you can watch the entire season now. So
okay.
There's 2 seasons out. And Foundation, I love those books. They're really good.
Yeah, I mean, I heard people say good things about it. I've heard people say good things about Ted Lasso, and a couple other things that are on.
I only bought it for one thing, and that was Foundation.
Right. Okay. Got it.
And I used it just in time to just finish the season.
Mm-hmm. And again, I heard there's some good stuff, but it's just paying for another thing that I just kind of don't want to do right now. And I already pay for, because of Star Trek stuff, I pay for Paramount Plus, and they do have a lot of stuff, but I'm not always in the mood for watching
Yeah,
certain
that's
stuff,
kind
right?
of the thing, isn't it? It's like with
Right.
Netflix, you get Netflix to watch the next season of Stranger Things, and then
Well,
and then
not in
you
my
just
case.
have nothing interesting
Right.
on there at all.
Like I enjoyed the TV show Wednesday. I enjoyed Umbrella Academy, but they're not. Unfortunately, they're like the only two things that I liked on Netflix in current day, and everything else is like a random whatever,
Yeah.
right? And it's not enough to pay for it throughout the year. And more importantly,
Nope.
as I'm just sort of holding my breath on finances for a little bit, with hopes and dreams that raise will happen and a little more money will be helpful, and over the course of time that will improve. But like until that day happens, or those years happen, I I just like $200 I don't need to spend, and then multiply for every one of those circumstances for streaming.
Hmm.
You could, in theory, if you have five of those, you could save yourself nearly $1,000 a year,
Yeah, just or not spend $1,000 a
or
year.
not spend $1,000 a year, right? Yeah. So, and when my debt to income ratio was different before moving here and being really fully adulting, um, it was next to nothing. So, throwing money into the void on stuff like that just because was okay. But now I'm making it. I have to hard line evaluate. It's like, yeah, I like two things that I only get to enjoy 2 months of the whole freaking year, and the rest of it is kind of like. And I'm not doing what you're doing, which is, I will pay for it for 2 months, and then I'm done, and then I stop paying for it again. And
Yep.
for me, I was just like, how about I just do without?
Yeah,
My
I
life's not
got
going to end.
the only thing I constantly pay for is Amazon Prime.
So I pay for Prime because I pay for Prime in general. It's not the video service. I pay for it in general. So, when I do buy stuff on
Yeah, for me
Amazon, I
it's the
benefit.
opposite. I pay for the Amazon Prime to watch The Expanse.
Right.
Then I got the Prime stuff for Amazon with it. So I was like,
Right.
okay, I'll just
So I
keep
paid
it.
for Prime, and then they gave you all that
And
Prime
actually,
stuff.
stuff on there is actually pretty good. The
They
shows on there,
they have
there's
some stuff, yeah.
yeah,
But they have the same problem, the same conundrum, which is some stuff's available only for a very short period of time throughout the year. It's not
yeah. But
consistent
even
content.
their own produced stuff, like for example Bosch and some other shows.
Bosch wasn't bad. I stopped watching it. There's only so much of it that I could watch.
Oh yeah, I cannot deal with that
I'm not
show
into.
longer than one season.
I'm just not into like always dramatic cop drama. There's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
many of them,
No,
and
but
Bosch is not
that's why you switch it out with other
right.
stuff.
The one that and then because of Star Trek, Paramount Plus. So like I hate what CBS is doing, but there is a lot of content there if you want to go watch some stuff. I
Mm.
am not. I don't immediately desire some old school stuff. There's a tremendous amount of it, but I get enough Star Trek, and the Star Trek has been definitely a Strange New Worlds has been very good,
Yeah, I keep hearing
and
that, but then I'm like, I don't want to have another lower deck situation
yeah.
because
Oh, okay.
I
So
could not get
so
through the first
I
season.
I enjoy Lower Decks.
I
So
could not go through that
so
again because too
there's
much cringe.
enough there's enough of that's like half my year for that stuff. There's enough roving content in there, and then I guess at least in the U.S. they sort of join together with Showtime. So all of Showtime's content is available through Paramount Plus
I think
here.
over here it's in Sky.
Okay. So I was able to watch a show and basically marathon, and now I'm at current with a show called Billions because it's full of some actors that I like. And so I'm vested. I enjoy that. It's a thing you can put on the side and go do other things, during my week.
While you play Starfield.
Or Mahjong or something, right? Or Minecraft. Um, and and so now I'm at current. So now I gotta wait for it every week, you know. Um, so it becomes the one of the three things that's new that I can watch until we run out of everything. Um, and there's some stuff in there, and there used to be some shows in there that like I once probably would have enjoyed, but like I've since forgotten about them. And unless you're searching for them, you won't find them in the void of too much too much stuff in the catalog. Um, and then Disney Plus, right? I'm watching uh
Ahsoka.
Ahsoka. Yeah,
Yeah.
I started watching that. It's good. Um, I guess
I'm Star Warsed out. Same with
yeah.
Marvel. I'm like, I don't
I'm
want
not,
to watch
but
any
again,
of the new stuff.
I there were a couple moments where I stopped what I was doing on one monitor and I made myself watch the actual episode because I was like, I'm missing some good stuff here, and I'm just sort of barely paying attention to it. So, and that like things are gonna come back in October. So like Loki, I think is coming back. So there's a whole bunch of things. So like I pay for a few things, and that's it. That's all I'm paying for, right? I'm paying for Crunchyroll because of the I do an anime
The
podcast, so
anime podcast. It's kind
yeah,
of important
yeah.
these days.
Um,
It's actually kind of cool that they actually figured it out eventually
what Crunchyroll?
with like anime stuff to watch anime without
A lot
having
of
to go
yeah,
on
right.
the put on an eye patch, put a parrot on your shoulder,
Oh yeah, yeah.
pretend you're a pirate.
Well, I mean,
Arg.
not to go off on I was I was involved. My way of fan subbing was later, and it wasn't really for anime, but I was a part of that fan subber community, and there was a motto that came up with was, and that's what was on all the end of the tapes: not for sale or rent.
Yeah.
And what happened is when companies, aside from the early ones in like the '90s and the late '80s, um, your ADVs and some of the other companies kind of came and had an opportunity, and it became more marketable, and these conventions got larger and it became more marketable, and there was a process they figured out. It wasn't all sort of hopes and bets and throwing money at people in different, countries to get licenses. They were able to kind of make it work. And basically, the thing was, well, once it was announced or released, um, the fan subbers sort of, well, okay, not all of them, but most of them, the honorable fan subbers are like, all right, well, we'll stop distributing our tapes, or we'll take these things offline, and that's exactly what they did. Now, I can't speak to the current days digisubbers, so I don't know. I'm not really part of that community or anything, and I don't really necessarily know those people. So, like I would have from the original fan subbers, right, community, because literally, I rolled with that community, and I knew those people, and that's how I also got to see some stuff that wasn't highly accessible until you got to a convention once a year, if you were lucky. Um, so,
Hmm.
but when something came out, they made it go away, right? And I don't know if that's so much the case anymore, but then you get into the streaming, companies, and
Then you get Netflix, and you get abominations like Cowboy Bebop live action.
or I guess the new one that I
Oh,
hear,
One Piece. Oh
One
no.
Piece live action One Piece. So I don't know. I don't have an opinion, and hopefully I won't have to have an
What have
opinion
you
for a
heard
while.
about that, by the way? One
I
Piece.
haven't really. I There's one guy on TikTok who goes by Straw Hat Goofy.
Uh
So
huh.
name alone, that should tell you two things about him. He's a big fan with Disney, and he's a big fan of One Piece, and those both things are true. And he I saw some video where he was just like, all right, so hey, and he threw up the picture of the cast, and he's like, you can really tell that he's like, and I think he did some digging, but he's like, you can tell that these actors are actual One Piece fans. and he was going off on a thing about it. And again, he has enthusiasm about it. But that being said, Luffy is not wearing a hat. There's no straw hat. So I don't know. I don't have an opinion.
I haven't watched One Piece.
I haven't watched
I have
it.
no idea.
I have because of the podcast, because Bryce is a fan and he made us watch plenty of the movies and stuff. So I have a fair amount of awareness of One Piece, but it's not something I follow. And
I'm very happy I never got into that whole thing.
Okay.
I went into Bleach.
I will say,
which was pretty okay in the first few seasons, and then it got really weird, and I was like, okay, eject.
So here's the comment I'm going to make is, and I don't think Steve has any objection because I don't think he's an anime fan, so I don't think it really matters. But the fandom from Naruto is one thing. The fandom for One Piece, I think, is a better quality.
I wasn't talking about Naruto, but
But what I mean is being a fan of something and really digging into it, right? And the fandom communities that like roll around there, like Dragon Ball and stuff like that. One Piece, I think, as a piece of content from a world universe build, is much deeper and much wider. And I've only had a minor amount of exposure to it, but I think there is, if you want to be a fan of something, I think there's more in that universe that's interesting than it is, let's say, Naruto or Dragon Ball, for example. I won't pick on Eva because I've never invested that much energy on Eva. But I know there's a strong fandom voice for that. And comparing that to One Piece they're not the same thing. They're just they're black and white difference. But also, and again, I've not watched every freaking re-release of a movie and and all the whatever came after the original series. I don't know enough of that content.
The new ones are really good.
Okay, but to that larger point is how much of the world universe building exists in Eva, even with all that extra stuff.
What do you mean?
So, you have your main set of characters and your main set of situations, and probably some iterations on the angels.
Well, in the new, they're movies, so they're not like TV shows.
Okay, but it's basically the same universe of people, right? It's, you don't know more about the world where all this stuff is happening, right? And I mean the universe of it, right? You only know about this situation and these characters and the war and the struggles that they have, right? You just get more of that. Is that correct?
I don't know.
Where it's not, One Piece isn't really an adventure of the week, but you get to see more than just that is beyond the initial.
Well, I don't think in the original show there was more. There wasn't like an adventure of the week.
In Eva, no, totally not.
No.
But you only kind of knew Nerve and the characters and the angels. That's it. You dealt with their internal struggles and their purpose of their organization and the fight against the angels, and that's kind of all that the TV show did for you. That's all you knew. You knew about the show. Where in One Piece, you get to learn a little bit more about different fruits and different characters, and more than just the initial crew from the ship of the main characters.
It is a show with over 1,000 episodes.
Yes, that is true. Yeah. And so what I'm saying is, in terms of a world of finding more things to find new and interesting and learn about, One Piece has way more depth than a lot of these TV shows that have a lot of community, but not, the depth is fairly limited, right? It's not two dimensional, where One Piece has a lot of dimension to it. So anyhow, that was my point.
We're touching
So
on your anime.
yeah. Anyhow, we should do some links, maybe.
Yep.
Okay.
So first one is Noita, a roguelike for the mentally deranged. Polymatic link /1BR. And I think the description of made by a Finnish arsonist is a good description of that game.
Okay.
Okay, and then I have Polymatic link /1BS. That's Noita on Steam. So if you want to buy this game that I've been talking up a bit, that's Polymatic link /1BS. Then I have Carving the Sparkliest the D20 Ever. Polymatic link /1BT. Very shiny.
Yeah, I'm now following that guy.
Okay. I think we may have shared his channel before.
Yeah, we definitely have, and that's how I found out about him. And I've seen this video because now I follow him, and something new shows up, I'll watch it.
Yeah. And then I have Polymatic link /1BU for Starfield Intrusive Thoughts. Because Captain Sparkles is playing Starfield, and he has a tough time not shooting people that he's not supposed to shoot with his mining laser. Polymatic link /1BU for that.
Yeah. All right, so I have 4 links as well. So there's one podcast that I listen to, and it doesn't happen too frequently, but when it shows up, I'll, if I'm in the mood, I'll listen. I have the bandwidth and I'm in the mood for podcasts, I'll listen to it. They started to do, it's called The Pitch Show, and it's sort of like startup world and VCs, where it's kind of like Shark Tank, but for startups. But this, I don't know if this came after Shark Tank. It might have been about the same time. Maybe Shark Tank came first. I think Pitch Show might have been historically. My brain wants to say, I don't watch Shark Tank, so I don't have any care for that. But the Pitch Show, this was like a Gimlet show, I think. Pretty sure this was one of the Gimlet shows. So it was, it was one of those along with Startup and stuff. And, now it's not part of Gimlet anymore, of course. It's its own thing. So you still can go get the full audio episodes, but they started to do a video version, at least the first 20 minutes of it. So you can watch the first 20 minutes if you always wanted to know what some of these people sounded, you know what they sound like, but see them actually talk. Well, they're filming it. So you get the first, let's say, 23 minutes of it, and then the remaining parts of the show you can listen by audio, or you just ignore that totally. But if you're interested, Polymatic.link /1BV. I thought that's interesting, so I will watch the first 23 minutes, and then I'll finish up the episode by listening to the remaining part of it by audio. So yeah, so that's a thing now, and that will just take you to the YouTube channel. Okay, so this one's a really weird animation. I feel like I had shared them before, but I don't know. We only do these once a month, so I might have been holding on to this channel.
I haven't seen this before and was very disturbing.
It is very disturbing.
It looked like one of those. I had feelings like it was some sort of like Spider-Man Elsa weird YouTube thing.
But
it was made for the algorithm.
Well, so no, it is totally made for adults.
And I think it might have been like generated by an AI or something.
No, I mean,
so weird.
This is it is such a weird animation, but in the same way, it's kind of entertaining. So I just wanted to share it. Polymatic.link /1BW. So I saw a clip.
Do you know the title?
Oh, it's a Go Fly a Kite.
Okay.
I had saw a clip for like America's Got Talent, and it was the strangest. It was clearly a produced thing. I don't know. I don't watch the live show, so I don't know how this fit in. But what they did is they showed up as a animated thing on a screen, and the judges were like, "What's going on? Excuse me." And then they brought somebody in, and then I don't know, some magic happens, and these these like physical puppets showed up on the stage and they played a song. And I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And I went searching and then I realized that that isn't their normal thing. Their normal thing is this animation channel. And it's funny because the TikTok clips are different than the YouTube full format things. So I don't know. Thought it was interesting. I'm following them. We'll see what they do. But it's kind of uniquely interesting animation and disturbing all at the same time.
Yep. Polymatic.1BW.
Yeah. Okay. So the only TikTok trying to reduce that for you. She for some reason does not have this on her YouTube. She does these. She's just an interesting artist. You can't even buy this thing, but these are called tiny teapots, and just watching her do this thing is like, that's pretty neat. I was expecting her to put it in a kiln or something, but I don't think she does that. She just makes these interesting things. Where I discovered her was a video where she took a soy sauce bottle and she make a little city world or something on it. I thought it was interesting. Polymatic.link/1bx. And then last, an artist that I follow, she came out with one of her newer songs. She came out with a music video, Caitlin Tarver. It's called Parallel Universe. It's a good song. Polymatic.link/1by.
Okay. So, Alan, where can they find you?
On Threads, on Mastodon, and I guess Blue Sky now. Though Blue Sky there's not a lot going on there, which is perfectly fine. That's kind of refreshing.
I'm still not on Blue Sky.
I'll give you an
Still
invite if you
haven't got
want.
an invite.
I got an invite finally, and I haven't gotten the invites codes yet. I think you have to be there for a little bit. But
Yeah.
what's interesting is you have an opportunity to move to a tab and go discover the randomness, or discover the randomness that your friends, the people you're following, or are like saying what's popular with what they want to repost or whatever it is. But there's no forcing randoms on you.
No feed.
Yeah,
for you.
There's really three things. You can choose to go to the wild crazy. You can, with the algo feed, you can choose the feed for you or just the people you want to focus on. And it's kind of refreshing that it's quiet, because I'm only following a few people. It's kind of quiet. It's kind of good. Where compared to Threads, I'm still getting sort of pushed on randomly through algorithm-y stuff.
Yeah.
And kind of find that annoying. I will say in X, they have their For You, which does that, and then they have the
Following.
The following. So you can either dive into the crazy, or you can accept the crazy that of the things that you're following.
Yeah.
So I just hate that Threads forces that on you. So I'm in all the places, but I made like one post. My post in Blue Sky was, I guess I'm here now. And that's it. I think I replied and commented on a couple things.
Well, if you want to find Alan, you can find him in Polymatic.link/Alan.
Yeah.
For his links. Or in this case, it just still points to Twitter, but
whatever.
We can change it later.
Yeah, whatever.
You can find me on Polymatic.link/John. For feedback, you can reach us at podcast@Polymatic.media. Our Twitter is the Polymatic. We should probably remove that at some point. And our website is Polymatic.media. Hope you tune in next time. Bye-bye.